Gabiam.
Gabiam.
Yeah, how are you, sir?
I'm doing quite well. Thanks so much for having me here. It's a pleasure.
How is Cape Town treating you?
Cape Town's great. South Africa overall, the Republic is awesome. I mean, the amount of diversity, not just in ecology, but peoples and cultures and languages, things to do. It's very humbling to be back a second time.
Oh, the second time you've been here?
Oh, yeah. I was here 10 years ago as well. You know, I was riding around, doing road trips, enjoying as much as I could. But
hopefully you're going to come back for the third time.
Absolutely. We'll see. If I have enough rand in my pocket, then I'll definitely be back.
Can you please tell us about yourself?
Sure. So I'm Deputy Director at the Consumer Choice Center. So we're a consumer advocacy group, think tank. With some friends of mine in the very beginning, we were very much in favor of new technologies, things like Uber, things like social media. And we saw that there were a lot of people who were very against those technologies, and nobody was standing up for consumers who actually like innovation, who like choice, who like cool and fun things, and don't understand regulatory systems and governments enough to figure out that they actually have a voice. So we kind of launched our group. I'm a former journalist, guilty. And that was my industry before. I was involved in information, disseminating information, understanding legislation, and I figured I might as well use my powers for good and do it on behalf of consumers who want to have choice. Yeah.
Can you provide us with an overview of the goals and the objectives of the center?
It's pretty simple. Every time there's a new ban or regulation or rule that a government proposes, what we're going to do is we're going to take that, we're going to analyze it, and we're going to provide our analysis and try to mobilize consumers either for it or against it. Really depends, right? There's all kinds of areas where some government regulation probably goes too far, takes away our choice as consumers in the marketplace. Sometimes it's good policy that we actually like, that's getting rid of regulatory barriers, that's lowering tax, that's increasing competition. So it's things that we like. Again, it's going to depend on what the policy is, but my colleagues and I, we've been doing this globally. Every single local context matters, and you can kind of see that a lot of these ideas are very contagious, and we can see that innovation is contagious too. And that's, I think, the coolest part of what I do, is that I can advocate for all the fun stuff that I like, knowing that it's backed by science, knowing that there's all types of competition and benefits that come with basically consumers being able to buy the things that they want and not having governments and states telling them that they can't.
As we are attending the conference for Technovation Smoke-Free, I think we need to touch on it as well.
Sure.
What are the key trends or patterns that you have observed in the recent years regarding consumer attitudes towards smoking and smoke-free?
Yeah, it's crazy. When I was growing up, obviously we had all the programs in school, right? Don't smoke, don't even start, this and that. And that was sort of the solution. It was very binary, right? It was like, smoke, don't smoke. That was it. And it really wasn't until, I started about university that you had other options. You had vape devices that came up all of a sudden. You had snus that was available that people could use. So actually people were doing all of those behaviors, engaging in risky behaviors as young people do, because they wanted to have the nicotine. And it really wasn't until these alternative products came up, mostly out of small companies and innovators, that all this stuff was available. And what we've seen now over the last, you can say 10, 15 years, is that the market is it's just crazy how much is out there, the choices that someone has, and ways that they've actually removed most of the harm from all of this stuff so that people can actually ingest nicotine without burning anything, without ingesting anything, and actually use those products, whatever it be, vaping devices, heaters, pouches, snus. They can use all of that and not have anywhere near the harm as traditional smoking. So I think it's a great transition. And again, it's not a solution that's been thought up in the Department of Office. It came from the marketplace. It came from entrepreneurs and innovators developing products and the consumers moving towards them and wanting to use it. So you've actually seen places like Sweden, places like the US, you've seen smoking rates crumble. We're talking under 10%, sometimes under 5% of the population that smokes. That could not have been done without nicotine alternatives to make it happen.
Are consumers good decision makers?
It's a good question. I'm asked that a lot here in South Africa. I trust the consumer. I really do, because you as a consumer just think of when you buy and sell goods, right? You go to the grocery store and you buy certain products, that one might be a bit more expensive, but it's more to my liking. Or this one, I'm not sure, but I know the brand, I've heard the marketing, I understand the difference between this laundry detergent and that laundry detergent. So we're all dealing with trade-offs, with different information, and I think we do the best that we can as consumers. What I think I don't like is when a lot of information is restricted, right? So you can't understand the difference between certain products because you can't have advertising. And I think that is a scope where we have to constantly improve. Are consumers the best decision makers? Probably not, depending on your context or my context, but for their context, their family, their life, absolutely they're the best determinant of it. And I think many governments have to also understand that consumers have their own preferences. They may not be that of someone who's the charge of the health regulatory body, but that's fine. We did not create governments to make the best decision for everyone all of the time. We did it so that people would be free to choose how they want to live their lives.
So what do you think about the social media or the media? Can they be influential so that government can change some policies?
Yeah, somewhat. I think social media, very influential, but so are peer networks. So are your buddies. So are people that you meet. So are people in your social circles. And we're obviously going to be informed by traditional media or social media. It's really going to depend. I mean, a lot of people like podcasting, great technology, because it's more personal and it's conversations. We don't have to do this in 2-minute clips. We're able to talk about ideas and learn from them and extrapolate information from that. I think when it comes to any of these policy things, alternative media especially has a role, because you have to be incredibly responsive to your audience. If your audience, you put up a video, put some information out there and your audience absolutely hates it, they downrank you, they don't want to watch it, you get harmed, right? So you need to provide the best quality information that you can. And if we can do that along with good policies that respect consumers and give them choice, then the media can have an incredibly positive role. At the same time, you can have a very bad role. If we go back to South Africa, we think of during COVID, the prohibition on alcohol and tobacco. The way that it was sold was, we're helping people, we have less people in the hospital, but everything's a trade-off, right? Sure, people were not able to buy this legally in the store, but you could get it. Everybody knew someone that could get some kind of alcohol product, some tobacco product, whatever it might be, because markets exist, illicit or illicit. People want those products and they'll get them. And by making that stuff illegal, by reconducting prohibition, which we know is a failed experiment from 100 years ago, doing that again, we just introduce yet more danger that didn't have to exist. Good South African example I wanted to use there.
What challenges are consumers facing when it comes to making decisions?
Yeah, I think a lot of it is information overload is certainly one. We hear all kinds of different information opposing, and people who have different interests who want to push us in a certain direction. And we have different choices when it comes to the smartphone that we want or apps, and we learn the best. But we have peer pressure, peer circles. For people who have iPhones, there's also this phenomenon known as the blue bubble, right? If you have the blue bubble when you contact someone using iMessage on iPhone, he's another iPhone user, right? But you don't have that if you use an Android. So you have information about the differences between the two or what people want. I think there we just need to have way more open and free ecosystems. And that includes media, includes people being able to converse online and social media, because the more that we can actually get that information out, people can talk about it, they can make the best decision for themselves. Because again, I don't want to make that decision for a consumer. You don't want to make that decision. We shouldn't want the decisions to be made by others just because they happen to be powerful or rich or have all the information and knowledge in the world. It's up to us.
Okay. Can you share any specific initiatives that you are busy with, or program that's aiming to educate consumers so that they will be able to identify the benefits or the risks?
I think one big one, my colleagues did a protest in the Netherlands, and it was interesting because it was about ice cream flavors. You'll see where I'm going with this. So you kind of offer, and you have a little ice cream cart, and people can come up and select what they can eat. And, you have, let's say, 10 different types of ice cream, and people start to taste, and they're, well, what is this? There's no flavor. Like, well, of course not. We've determined that if there's more flavors of the ice cream, you're just going to eat more. And it's going to be bad for your stomach. It'll be bad for your weight. And it was a way to talk about different vaping flavors, which in the Netherlands, they're banning. So you have, lime and menthol and mint and all these different types that people use to transition away from smoking. People will use different vapes. And many people come up with the arguments. It's like, well, adults don't like flavors. Adults don't like things that taste good. So we showed them with the ice cream that actually, we as adults, we like that stuff. We like to have choice between different flavors. It's not just, because it's going to attract people who are underage. Everybody likes flavors. And it's a thing that we just kind of have to recognize. And that's a specific fight that happened in the Netherlands. But again, the battle over, let's say, vaping flavors or flavors on nicotine pouches, all this stuff, it's kind of happening globally. This idea that we need to restrict it so that we don't appeal to youth. Meanwhile, all of these adults who would have used your products don't have that choice because they'll never be able to. And they're not going to like it. Nobody wants to have just tobacco-flavored X or Y, right? They want to have the things that actually taste good, and that can get them to stop smoking tomorrow.
So this idea of using an ice cream is a very good one, eh?
Yeah.
So that they
not
can
bad.
choose what they want.
I didn't have the full idea. That came from my colleagues, but yeah.
Yeah, the last question, it goes back to the consumer feedback. How is it helpful to you guys to get the feedback from the consumer so that you can develop some marketing strategies for new products?
Yeah, I think it comes a lot to ideas and campaigns. I mean, we do a lot of stuff related to technology, access to social media, harm reduction, but also energy. There's a lot of places where consumers are actually deprived of better, smarter policies, and we think it's for our own good. Like South Africa and electricity generation is like a big topic, right? Where's all the energy coming from? Electricity, exportations, taxes. Is it going to be coal or natural gas? Do we still trust nuclear? Maybe not. Like that's a kind of area to where I think consumers should be loud about it because it impacts how much they pay when they're trying to heat their house, how much it's going to cost to run the air conditioner. Like these are the kind of things that are always happening, and it's based on decisions that we make every day as consumers, paying our bill, using a different provider, and understanding the technologies behind it. So I think that is one. Another one is just, when you go out, let's say a normal Saturday, and you go out with friends and family, what are the rules and regulations that restrict your choice from the time that you wake up until the time you go to bed? So think of the restaurants. What time are restaurants open or closed? Is that determined by the government? If you're buying a product, or there are certain things that are not available on the shelves because of some government rule. Is it, you go online and log in to try to use something and it says, not available in your country. That's the kind of stuff to where people have these frustrations all the time. They don't know necessarily how to articulate them or how to even fight against it because you think, I'm just one voice, I'm just one consumer. But if you actually bound together, you find other people, you can build grassroots networks of people who are upset. And that's why social media allows that, right? If a company does something and it's pretty stupid and dumb, you have the ability to go on X and be like, hey, what are you doing? This is terrible. What are you? People do that with airlines all the time, right? It's like, oh, you lost my bag or my flight's delayed. You have that ability now with social media, with other consumers to organize and to oppose things if you want. And I think more people should be encouraged to do that.
Kabia, thanks a lot.
Kabia, thank you so much for having me.
Hopefully when you come back to South Africa, we'll have a whole hour of this podcast.
Very good. Well, hey,
there are a lot of things.
Very good. Well, hey, we can do it on Zoom. We can set up a thing in Ken, and we can talk Bitcoin for the next 2 hours too, if you want. Maybe next time.
Thanks a lot.
Cheers.